Howdy folks, it's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness, and it is after midnight, and we are doing another unboxing of a 2023 Charles S. Roberts Award nominee. Yes, the voting is done. This is one of the titles that I had intended to unbox along with the rest of the Gunpowder and Industrial era category, but it had not arrived yet in time. And of course, Murphy's Law, 2 days after the awards close, then this guy shows up, of course. So it is 1562, Beginning of a Tragedy. Now, this is the third volume in the By Shot, Shock, and Faith series. The first two in the series came out from Hexasim. The first one has the French of that phrase, by shot, shock, and faith, which I don't remember except for the last word was foi for faith. However, some of the translations, instead of saying shot, shock, and faith, come out as fire, iron, and faith, and some of them come out as fire, iron, and liver. Yes, foie gras. So shot, shock, and faith, or fire, iron, and faith is the name of this series in French, but this is the third. This is by Serious Historical Games. So the designer, Philippe Hardy, has now created his own imprint of games. In board game, they call it a French editor of games as opposed to a publisher, but I'm not sure if that's just a translation thing or not, but also has a title, Sekigahara, and some other things in the works, and that's been published. So let's go ahead and look at this one, 1562, Beginning of a Tragedy. It's got 3 battles of the French Wars of Religion. So let's get the shrink off. And now with the shrink off, we can get in and take a look at the back of the box with a little less glare, hopefully. Not sure if I'm able to stand this up as I usually do. Nope. All right, I'm gonna need to do the angled treatment and look at portions. You can see there's French and English. So me being English and having mostly English viewers, but notice it says rules and player aid both in French and English. Okay. So it is a grand tactical game with 300 to 500 meters center to center area. So if you take a quick look down here, you can see it's an area based map. All right. $100 to $500 men per counter, 30 minutes per game turn. Designed for 2 players, and in the average difficulty scale 1 to 5, it's a 3. Playtime between 20 minutes and 100 minutes. So anywhere between 20 minutes and 3 hours, obviously depending on the scenario. There's supposed to be 3 scenarios in this game. I also believe there might be some more basic rules and advanced rules, I think. So there are 2 maps, one single-sided small one and one double-sided large one. 216 pre-cut cardboard counters. Interesting that they go ahead and they tell us the inches over here. We can see 18 millimeter, and they say, oh, that's about 0.7. Of course, interestingly, they use the comma as a decimal point, whereas English folks in the US would use a period. I guess maybe the Brits use the comma, or that's just the rest of the European standard. I don't know. Is that a Brexit change or not? Or do Brits use the comma for the decimal point? We use a period, being US. Player aid. So the question is, this player, is there actually 2, or does the same one have both languages on it? book of rules, and a book of scenarios. All right. So not going to dwell here on the rest of the back of the box, only that, it's French Wars of Religion, conflict between the French Catholics and Protestants, the Huguenots. All right. Battle of Dreux. I can't pick up all the names here. So we're going to see it inside the box. So let's get inside. In we go. Box open, and I'm slightly at an angle to try to avoid some of the glare that I have. This is a somewhat gloss cover, as you can see there, as it catches the light. All right, and we're seeing French and English on both of these. Rules, règles. So that was like regulations, but I guess that's sort of what rules are. Scenarios. Surprise, surprise. Scenarios. Excellent. So Dreux, ver, I think it's pronounced, and Lebestat. Now it is interesting. That they don't put the English here for the scenario names on the cover. All right, so I'm going to set, here's the French. Let me see if I can, I'm not sure if that's fou or foi, par le faux, le faire et la foi. So the phrase has 3 F's. It's alliterative, but by fire, shot, fire, the fear, for iron. There's a different word for steel, but these aren't iron, these are steel. But again, sort of a colloquial phrase, shock and faith. Not liver, not foie gras, but so that's this series. I'm going to take a look at these in a bit, but let's go to the rest of the eye candy. Oh, we're digging right into counters. Now this is interesting that these are printed vertical alignment on this, where you get most counter sheets like this. I'm going to zoom back out a bit and then bring it up. So normally you'd get a counter sheet oriented this way. I have seen this before in the Cry Havoc, Alma, that series that got published, I guess, was like Historic One or something that is published in France. They had counter sheets, big ones that were oriented this way. So I don't know if that's a French printing specialty or what, but that's very interesting to have this orientation. So we've got nice silhouettes. Remember, these are 0.7 inches or 18 millimeters. We got a symbol here. I can't really tell what those symbols are. Some numbers. There's symbols down in this corner. Some don't have all the symbols. Some have a symbol over here. So like, well, these have this red thingy, which I can't tell if it's a ribbon or some kind of a scarf or hat. Some units have it up there. So I don't know if that's supposed to indicate some kind of experience level or ranking, some kind of medallion, medal, something like that. That'll be interesting to dig in and see. See, some of these have a 0 here, so I don't know if that is movement. So while the guns are unlimited, they can't move, or is that like shock value? I'm assuming that's not a 20 strength. It's a 2 and a 0, two different numbers. So I'm going to guess this number up here is probably movement allowance. The leader should be able to move. Well, but see, here's 3, 4, 5. Are these guys going to have a faster movement allowance than those? No. So maybe it's a morale rating? We will have to dig in and find out. Now, I believe these are double-sided. Yes. All right. So the registration looks good. They all see that stripe makes it easy to see going up through there. So let me see, 3, 3, 6, 3. Okay, so this unit, when it gets flipped, the top number 6, 3 became a 3, 3. All right. So we'll have to find out what those mean. All right, so here is a second counter sheet, which some more units. They did not say which are which, so obviously you'll be able to tell at some point in the rules which color is which side, but various markers, charge. Well, I can't. Some of those are sort of hard. What is that? Caracol? Caracol. That's a kind of maneuver, I think. Anyone who knows, is that like outflank? Is that... I've heard this term before. But I do not remember. Shock piqueurs. So, pikers, I would get. Piqueurs. A D, is that like a kind of a disruption? Can you see that, the white D there? Here's some units with a D on it, but they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. They're Roman numerals. I don't know if those are mercenaries of some kind. There's 6 here, there's 6 here. But these all have the same numbers on this side. Nothing on the back. D, 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 D. So there's a mix of the different counter types, front and back. Oh, so like some orders. Attacks, retreats, retreat, hold, retreat. Interesting that these are all in English. I cannot read that. Can you read that? Well, march, attack, reverse, or reserve. Reserve. My little eyes hold. Wow. Is that a disengage? It's got to be disengage. Skirmish. Interesting. Aha, here we go. French on this side. So march with an E on the end. Attack, spelled with a Q-U-E on the end instead of C-K, etc. At first letter is supposed to be a T. What were those? Hold. I do not know what that French would be. Retrait, retreat, or retreat, retrait, retreat. Looks like disengage. I can't read that. Oh, is it like evacuate, or what is that? No, what were those? Those were skirmish. Boy, I cannot read that. It's very small. It's like in a script, and it's French. So if you can read that, I'm sure we can find it in the rules. Okay, now, maps. Nice maps. Oh, I can just feel the nice... It's not glossy, but it's smooth. It's like, it feels like vinyl, just like Oh, no. Your coffee will just spill off of me. Now, I can see there's glare here through the camera, but when I'm looking at this straight, I am not seeing glare. That's interesting. I can totally see glare in the camera, but I'm looking at straight at it over the top of the camera. No glare. So that is interesting. There, see? See, it's looking like that to me. So it's interesting the way the plane of the thing catching the light, when it will or won't glare. So here's the turn track. Okay, it's interesting. So the particular battle, those were 30-minute turns. So the 13th hour, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th hour. That's all in French there. So you probably can't read that. So I can read that. Blainville, Bois de la Place, Bois is forest or wood, I believe. La Bleds, Epinay. Oh, yeah, that's really interesting. Wow, and usually it's like the opposite. I'm seeing glare, and sometimes it doesn't show in the camera, but there it does. All right, so the other side of this guy is ver. At least that's what I heard. That's pronounced ver, V-E-R-G-T. That's a problem. It's a script. It's like, man, they make it even harder to try to read through that. All right, I'm trying to get so you can see less glare. That is such a pretty map. I'm going to put that back there. Oops, sorry, tilt, so you can see that a bit. All right. And then here's the small one that's single-sided. Les Bassat. So I'm hoping this is the introductory battle. Nice, small. 5 turns, 2.5 hours. All right. Yeah, I like this material. I want to see if I can get some. I want to try to print on this and see how that comes out. I could do some applications with that. All right, and then we've got, I think, 2 charts here. Yes, good. They are indeed 2, and one is all English, one is all French. Much better to have 2 and then use the one you need than trying to fit it all on one. Okay, so interesting. It's got the table numbers. So potentially in the rule book, it can refer to see table blah, and then you can find exactly the number here and the name of it. Thank you, good sir, Philippe. The key. Well, because it doesn't have the name. Interesting. It's got the picture. It's got the modifier. The terrain. Here, describing it, but not the actual name. See here. It depends. It's like this could include certain things that could be streams, hedges, ditch, fords, etc. So these are dotted. There's no obstacle. These are like the boundaries between areas. Borders and line of sights movement, okay. And these borders here, brown and yellow, are line of sight coded. Okay, they're all either streams, hedge, ditches, or ford, and you could look at the map and see. And I can see right here, here's this river or stream, Le Verne, and here there's this yellow border. So here to here it's blocked. That's costing you +1 movement points to move across. but it's yellow, so it's not blocking line of sight. Now there are parts of this, this stream here, along here is shallower. It's dotted, all right? So it's like this. It's not being an obstacle, no modifier. So depending on how shallow it is, how steep the banks are, etc., you can look at the map. I'm going to zoom in there, see if you can see that better. All right, yeah, see, like looking right here, solid, yellow. Crossing here is going to cross you +1. Between here and here, here there's a road, but also here to here, it's like it's shallow enough, and same here. Whereas along here, it's enough of a barrier. Up here, there's brown borders because there's all that woods and forests, right? So a big, like forested hill, and you've got, you can see that, right? Yeah, so you should be able to see that. This is a ridge line. Okay, you can see a little bit of a hint in the map art, but that's blocking line of sight across here. It's not blocking movement. You can still move across, but you can't see across. So you're going up and, there's dudes on the other side or something. You're blocked line of sight. They could be waiting for you, Now, I don't know if this game has any hidden movement. You might know that there's units there from the sound or scouting reports, but you can't directly fire across that. It's blocking the line of sight. Maybe there are some, like you can put a marker over the top of something and you can't see it. Who knows on that? Okay, so that I really like this map. I really do. That is nice, and the more that I look at it, I'm going to flip it over and look at the other side too. Let's see if I can get that. Can get it standing up enough and flat enough. Yeah. Okay, so woods, so crossing in and out. You have a movement penalty. Most of this is all open. I can't, it's right off the edge here. See that there? That's solid. So this woods here is enough. Crossing that. There's woods there, up here. But these are small enough throughout here, and they're little rolling hills, right? That this is all open enough that you're seeing everybody. It's not impeding movement, except for this big woods here and these woods there. So this is a much more open battlefield. Down in the corner there, it says what it is. The Draw, 19th December of 1562. All right. So I think that was like a big important battle. This one was 31 October 1562. Littler scope battle. And then what was the date on the other one? 9 October. So actually, this is the first battle. The other side is the last battle of these three. All right, so let's look at that rule book. We haven't looked there yet, so we have our player aid card, double-sided, one French, one English, with a nice explanation, including there's a double one. Those are very difficult obstacles, which cost even more. But examples are fence, wall, barricade, river, canal. Whereas that would have been a stream or a ford. Or in this case, a shallow enough stream where it was the dotted lines where it's like considered no obstacle. So those are interesting. I'm going to put these counters here next, and then this, and then I'm going to use this to prop up. All right, so our rule book, I'm going to tilt down again. I need to go out there. So we got cover, front, back, 23. So 24 pages. I'm guessing, that doesn't make any sense. If it starts on 1, 2, wait, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, 23, 24. So 24 pages with 2 outer covers. So 22 inside pages. Yeah, 12, 13. There's right in the middle. Now, this here is both French and English. So we have the book split in half. Okay, so here's this first page saying, here's the French, here's the English content. It says starting on page 3, because this is 2. So page 3 through 12 is the French stuff. 14. What about page 13? Well, let's see here. Page 13 actually goes to the French part. So in the middle, there's these last bits of credits. The credits are there in French. Do they get all the credits at the end here in English? No. So you've got the designer notes in English, but if you want to, you can read most of these names. Oh, there is some English in here too. Well, for some of them it's all in French. Where it's a pure French reference, they only give the French title. And where it's an English book, they give it in English. There you go. So this credits page is both French and English. Okay, so at page 14, by Shot, Shock, and Faith. So it's from a French poem, Discourse on the Misery of These Times. Pierre de Ronsard. Ronsard. Trying to read from a distance there with my bad eyes. All right. So an overview with abbreviations, the game components. All right, so now we can look here. So the rating over here on this side is a quality rating, quality. So the 2 numbers here are a combat rating and a movement. So when a unit flipped, it lost combat rating, it didn't lose movement. Guns appear to be a limbered, unlimbered side, yes. So combat rating and PM, points movement, I guess. Yeah, why is this one called PM? Here they say it's movement. So I got to find, what does PM mean? PM, in this context, there's movement points. There's no explanation of what PM means, so that might have been like points movement. They did the word order backwards. Some languages, the word order does not matter. Some it matters very, very much. So, yeah, what's the PM mean on an artillery unit? I think they meant MP. All right, quality. Now, are they pointing out the little thing that looked like a handkerchief? I'm not seeing that here. Gun range, so that's a little number here. When it's unlimbered, it's got a range. Combat rating. All right. Movement, segment, and terrain. GZ. So is a GZ the equivalent of a zone of control? GZ is a geographic zone. That is what they're calling the areas. Geographic zones. Sort of area. So we have a geographic zone game instead of an area movement game. Borders and line of sight. Yeah, it was pretty easy just to catch that from the chart. Junction points. I guess the earlier two ones had junction points. And those are gone in this. So I don't know if that was the previous one was a hybrid of areas and point to point. And this one has no junction points. Zone of control is a concept here. Zone of control is protecting all adjacent geographic zones that share a non-impassable border. That share a passable border. A non-impassable border. Yeah, a passable border. Double negative. Oh, interesting. +1 movement point cost to enter. So just moving into the area adjacent to an enemy, you will have to add 1 to the movement cost. Stacking counter position in a geographic zone. Reinforcements. All right. Mounted arquebusiers, argulettes. Argulet. Show argulettes in the front and dismounted on their back. Is that what that is? But we saw somewhere it was up there, so it's like, what does that mean? I'm not going to dig in at this point too deep to try to find that. We found something there, but so I would like to see like some more illustrations, example of play here, like showing some example terrain in that. This is scant of that. It shows the counters and such, but not the pictures. Caracol, declaration, raters, which I always thought was a German word. Declared movement segment of the phasing player may only declare a caracol. They don't explain what it is, though. I'll have to look it up. I do not remember what kind of maneuver that is. Caracol resolution, attack enemy. Is it some kind of form of charge, but a different kind of charge? I'm not sure. A moment of hesitation, hunger for gold. Enfants perdus. An infantry detachment from a larger contingent. So that's what those are. It's like a skirmisher and a detachment. Oh, but a party of the best shooters. Interesting. And the designer notes. All right. So yes, I would have liked to have seen some examples of play in there. Well, we've got one right here. So in our scenarios, it's not just scenarios. Boom, right off the bat, they start with some examples of play in French. So I'm going to go halfway through and hope we're going to find those. Yes, there we go. In English, the command segment, movement segment, argules, argulet. Reaction charge. Caracol. Caracol is declared. Still is not describing what it is. If you know what it is, please comment and let me know. I'll look it up eventually and I can add a pinned comment or something. But if you know, you can describe it. All right, so here are the scenarios, finally. We got all those nice examples play. Thank you for having those. Thank you for including them. So, October 31st, 1562, Le Bassat. Okay, so they're listing that one first. And I believe because that's the tiny map one. 5 turns. The main battle. 1 arquebus or 2 militia and one enfants perdus, the detachments, versus the Protestants, having 2 arguelets, 1 baggage train, and 1 militia. Optional. Interesting, they ended up spelling optional with 2 N's. Yes, it says here, named Ver at the time. But Ver with the GT, Ver is the current spelling, I guess. Well, it's just Ver at the time. All right. So this is much bigger scale. There's 3 columns: a vanguard, a main battle, a rear guard, artillery, arguelets, gendarmes, chevaliers. What is that? 4 arquebusiers, 5 arquebusiers, and 5 pikemen in the rear. That's interesting. Your rear guard has got 10 units in it. Oh, holy moly, they're big here. 2 arquebusiers, 1 mounted arguelet, 3 more arquebusiers, 3 arquebusiers, 3 arquebusiers. Wow. 1 artillery, 1 arquebusier, 2 mounted arguelets, 2 artillery, 1 arquebusier, and 1 mounted. And their rear guard is much smaller. 1 chevalier or chevaliers. But that's interesting how it's pronounced. It's spelled chevalier. So Eligier in French. Is that legers or liers? Chevaliers. Mounted arguelet, arquebusiers, and the baggage train. And the last one drew vanguard, main battle, independent column versus a vanguard main battle. All right, quite interesting, quite interesting. Okay, here's some discussion, historical notes about the different units. And I can use this. I can look these up on translate on Google and try to get the right pronunciation in that. They were. Iconic mounted warrior of Germany. Reiters. Not raiders, but Reiters. I thought I'd heard that somewhere. I think the name of the second game in this series is about like the fate of the Raiders or something like that, or Landschnecks. All right, so interesting. This one actually has something on the back. It looks to be like almost like an advertising blurb on the back of the scenario book. So this has been 1562, Beginning of a Tragedy. It's the 3rd volume in the Shock and Faith series, or known also by some by the Fire, Iron, and Liver series. That's just too funny. This is by designer Philippe Hardy. It's from the publisher Serious Historical Games. The first 2 in the series were published through Hexasim. This is his new imprint. It's got 3 battles. It's in French and English rules. Big double-sided map. Nice small introductory map, single-sided. Oversized counters, not half-inch, but 0.7 or roughly 18 millimeters each. Double-sided. They look like they'll have very minor-ish corner nibs, so you don't have to worry about side nibs, though. But if you are a clipper, you can clip these either. These aren't super thick, but this isn't flimsy, right? Not some of those thinner counters from some publishers that are just way too thin. And then we have the player aid, double-sided, 1 in French, 1 in English. I like the color scheme. Dark browns, the lighter browns, the kind of beige to khaki. Again, this is this nice. Again, like I'm not seeing any glare when I look at it. Look at the camera, sometimes I was like, well, there's a lot of glare, but it's not. So like if you're using this in person, you should be able to use this with very little glare. And if you accidentally spill something, which again, I don't have drinks at the table when I play, but you know, if you do, that's your thing, and your stuff will be a little safer here with this. So this has been another unboxing of a Charles S. Roberts 2023 nominee. The voting has closed. This was in the Gunpowder and/or industrial era, sort of the catch-all area, ranging from the end of the medieval to 1500 ups through up to, but not including, almost World War II, but excluding World War I, World War II, Civil War, and Napoleon, because those are all in separate categories. So it was this big sort of catch-all category. I don't know, it seemed kind of a little awkward to me, but they probably did it because if they tried to split it into two, it's probably not going to have enough games in certain sides or whatever. So anyway, that's this one. I'll try to get to some more unboxing. Like I said, I'm doing these now. I'm going to try to do 1 or 2 a week. No more of this crazy 5 in a week stuff. And when the winners get announced for the Charles S. Roberts Awards, I will go ahead and make sure, if I haven't already done unboxings for those, I will get those done. So there we have it. 1562, Beginning of a Tragedy. You can order it from Serious Historical Games directly. That's where I ended up finding it. The only place I could find it and get it. So all you good folks out there, take care. Watch out for the shot and the shock. Keep your faith. Or protect your liver. You decide which translation you want to go by. Take care, folks, and ciao.